Hello friends and welcome back to my channel. So I'm reading for Friday and we're looking at the collective energy through the lens of Aquarius today. So what I have, it always feels like a continuation from the previous sign because Capricorn ended with this dragon and dragonfly energy, which is so funny to me because I was sat there kind of, I won't go into it, but I've had quite a meaningful experience myself today, and there was this dragonfly like pin and brooch, and I kept looking at it thinking, there's the dragonfly, there's the dragonfly. So that kind of has a bearing on your reading because your reading, especially over here, is talking about really paying attention to the subtle details, like really listening to like your spirit guide, or it could be really paying attention to somebody around you. It's like there are signs and they're very, very subtle. So it could be in the way that somebody's communicating with you. These signs could be very, very subtle, like little hints, little like winks and nudges, or it's like signs from spirit. But again, it's very subtle, very delicate. So you do have to pay close attention. So, with that dragon energy closing out Capricorn's reading, you actually start with this dragon's horde energy, protecting the future with this kind of almost dragonfly like creature, right? With this tail, it's reminding me of like the dragonfly's tail, and it's got these keys and it's protecting these eggs, right? So protecting the future. So I don't know if, because you have a few dragons coming through, and I don't know if dragons are particularly symbolic for somebody in terms of their ancestry, because that's the way I'm reading it today with the other cards that are around it, especially because like the elephant always symbols ancestors to me, like parents, grandparents, the older generations, right? So that's already coming through as kind of somebody who maybe very elderly in your environment, or somebody who has passed over and transitioned into the afterlife and they're like now a spirit guide for you. But the reason why I'm saying that is we also have it here. Do you see this dragon here on her sleeve? I kind of bring it up close because it is quite subtle. It's kind of like a dragon's head, like in a dragon's neck, and then it kind of goes up her arm as part of the body with this talisman God. So again, the talisman or tail talisman, am I saying that right? I don't know, I'm doubting myself now. And that could be a thing, right? That could be part of the reading too. Somebody could be doubting themselves, like, am I really following the signs correctly? Am I really reading the signals correctly? Is this really the direction that this energy wants me to go in? So okay, what I'm seeing is it's quite a special reading because you have this miracles are endless card. So again, cows could be particularly symbolic. Perhaps somebody comes from a country or a religion that honors cows in some sort of way. You don't have to be, but again, it could be a sign or a symbol for somebody. So take it as it resonates. Also, yellow flowers. The miracles are endless. So it's drawing my attention. What I'm seeing visually in my mind is how you could have a cow and you could use that cow for meat, right? You could, I don't know, and that's going to last you a while. There's quite a lot of meat on that cow, right? It's going to be a good meal for a whole village, or you know, it's going to last quite a long time. But if you keep the cow alive, it's kind of self-sustaining. So as long as you've got grass, that cow's going to keep feeding itself, and you're going to get milk from the cow, right? So it's like it's talking about something that's beneficial in the long term. You just have to know how to apply it correctly. You have to know how to receive that gift from the universe is the way it's coming through. So it's like, don't be too eager, don't be wasteful when this gift comes in, but use it wisely as a long-term resource. I want to say, interesting how that's just coming in now. But again, like the milk, especially because we've got this kind of like love card as well, it's kind of talking to me almost like mother's milk, of like it's coming through with this feeling of like love or nurturing or support. Like, I'm just going to kind of say what's coming into my head. It's kind of like breastfeeding. So, you know, this nurturing energy that's coming in with the cow spirit, and it's like the miracles are endless. So, it really feels like you know, spirit has a plan, the universe has got your back, especially because you literally have koala spirit. Spirit has a plan. Again, koalas could be symbolic for somebody. I keep getting bamboo. You have this thing at the moment with Libra, Aquarius, where there's a bit of interplay between your two signs. It could just be because you're both air signs, but Libra is coming through as bamboo, right? It's like they're very, very strong. No, gosh, they're giving me such weird things now. Now they're giving me the Milky Bar Kid is strong and tough, and only the best is good enough. Right, Milky Bar Kid. So it's like an old advert for chocolate in the UK. I don't know if it's like around the world, but like that's what they're giving me. So it's like I'm getting a lot of intuitive messages. It's a little bit distracting. So it's like Libra's been coming through with this like strong but flexible energy, and I keep getting this reference of bamboo. And then because you have this spirit has a plan with, and he's like holding a stick of bamboo, I'm kind of getting some kind of tie in there. What I was also getting from this now is there's some humour to your reading. So again, I don't know if somebody's passed over who's got a little bit of tongue-in-cheek humour, but it was coming through with Yoda. So I don't know if you've seen this parody. It's kind of one of those bad lip reading videos on YouTube, and there's a song, they have this song with Yoda, and he's training Luke Skywalker, and it's called My Stick. No, it's not My Stick. What's the other one? I don't know. It's bad lip reading Star Wars songs, and you'll find it. But that's what it's giving me. It's giving me Yoda with his stick. So it's like, this is like somebody who's training you, right? So like the universe is training you in some way. The universe is training you to read the subtle signs of the universe, to understand that the miracles are endless, to understand that spirit has a plan and has got your back. And maybe it's some kind of like trust exercise or faith exercise for you, either in whatever you believe in, right? God, the universe, spirit guides, angels, ancestors on the other side. It's like they want you to trust them. They've got a plan. And then it's coming in again with the dragon being this symbol of ancestry. You've got a lot of ancestry in your reading. It's coming through with this lightning bolt, like oh, I didn't see this as well when I pulled the cards, because I pulled the cards last night for you and then I kind of sat with them for a while. There is this figure here. Can you see this? I did not see that until just now. Like last night I was really focused on this flash, but there's actually, do you see the figure in the background? Kind of, this is its head, here's his shoulders. So with the two colours and with this very bright light blue energy, it's almost like it appears in front of you, or there's a flash of inspiration, or almost like a tower moment, but one of those positive tower moments, like the Ace of Swords, right? Where it's like an epiphany, a light bulb moment, something happens, it could be dramatic, and it comes in like a flash for you. So it's like this sudden spark of inspiration, or this sudden realization. It's maybe it's like you know, when all the pieces of the jigsaw puzzle like finally fall into place and you finally see the big picture. It's like this clarity moment. Or it could also be something that's really trying to get your attention as well. So I don't know, maybe some of you have seen like lights flashing, or you've seen orbs or something, but it's like something that's, because I feel like the subtlety didn't get your attention, right? The subtlety comes back over here. It's like they had to make an impact. They had to really grab your attention in some sort of way with the lightning. So it's like maybe suddenly seeing, it could be something that happened in a dream. It could be literally like a flash of lightning, and you think, oh my goodness, what was that? So my example of this is when I first started seeing the signs of the universe and feeling the universe's presence around me, and actually being able to communicate with those higher energies and understand that there is this higher or other force at play. I remember walking to work one day on a day like today, where it was like blue sky, you know, maybe a couple of those white fluffy clouds, but definitely no storm clouds. And it was like a perfect day. And I was walking to work and I thought, if this is real, please send me a sign. And immediately as I thought it, there was in the distance a single flash of lightning in the sky. And I thought, where did that come from? And wow, that was a response. Not only that, I came home and I was telling my partner about it, and he was playing a computer game, and he was like, right, okay, fine. So if that's real, like, you know, send me a sign or something like that. And immediately as he said it, he kind of, it was like lightning had hit him in the game and he kind of like exploded. I think it was like he was playing an army game. It was like an airdrop or something. But yeah, literally blew up right as he said it. I was like, there you go. The universe is talking to us and they're making it really obvious, right? If you needed that confirmation is there. So it could be, it doesn't have to specifically be lightning like it was for me, but it just feels like this big attention grabbing clear sign, right? It's like, how obvious do you want us to write it in the sky in neon pink? That kind of obvious. So it does feel like this is making some sort of impact on you, and it could be somebody around you as well, where you then are taken into this journey energy and the lower world. So it's like it's really coming through, especially with this one as well. It's really coming through with this kind of like never-ending story energy for me today. It's like going into the subconscious or going into the psyche, like going on, because this card talks to me about an inward journey, right? He kind of looks like he's falling asleep, or he's it was coming through for like Aries, is like he's been waiting for a long time, and because he's been waiting such a long time, he's kind of starting to drift off to sleep. But then in that like semi-subconscious state, actually going to this other place, this other realm, this inward journey. So it could be something that happens when you're sleeping. It could be something that happens in your dreams. It could be something that happens in meditation, or even like just, those moments where you just let your mind wander. It's like, where do you go? Where are you being taken to? And I want to say, especially pay attention if you are being taken into the past. So if you find yourself thinking about ancestors or people from your past situations, family, really be open to receiving those messages, because the lower world actually really does talk about finding those monsters under the bed, right, from your past, finding those hidden demons, finding those dark corners, whatever that is for you in your subconsciousness, right? It's like it's in your experience, it's in your consciousness. So it could be something that's happened in the family, right? Dealings with a family member, or something that even happened ancestrally to a member of your family that you didn't even know, but it's like it is in your subconscious realm. And what this card talks about doing is going in on that inward journey, kind of doing the shadow work, if you hear me talking about shadow work on the channel. So going inwards, doing that journey, finding those hidden demons and those dark corners, and really shining a light on them, right? Bringing positivity into those shadowy places, and taking the, it actually says like taking the demons, right? And turning it into pure source energy. So if I was talking about this on a practical way, I was talking about this week where I was saying it's like feeling anger, right? Feeling anger is not a bad thing. We're trained to be like, you shouldn't be angry. Well, sometimes we should be angry. Sometimes we have that kind of righteous anger of this situation shouldn't be this way, and I'm going to do something about it. So anger itself is just an emotion, right? It's just a tool that we have as humans that we can implement. If we take that anger and we turn it into something toxic, for example, if we hurt people because we're angry, or if we break things, or if we self-destruct in some sort of way, right? We self-medicate to push that anger down. However it comes out, if it comes out in a negative, toxic way, it's negative and toxic and becomes one of those shadow demons, right? But if we take that anger and we recognize it and we honor it, and we say, what has made me angry? Is there something I can do about that situation? Should this be something that I just have to accept that I am not happy with? Am I angry because of something that this has highlighted in me that I am embarrassed about, or I'm uncomfortable with, that I have to deal with and change internally? Or is this something that I have to think about drawing other people's attention to? Is this something that I need to petition for change for? So it's just having that moment of self-analysis, accepting the way that you feel. It doesn't have to be anger, right? It can be guilt, it can be pain, it can be all these different things that we're taught are negative emotions. And it's just really unpicking it and thinking, why am I having this reaction to this? Is it really about that other person, or is it something within me that I'm projecting or that I'm defensive about? Do I need to do some more work here? How do I take this, accept it, and utilize it as a source for something to grow from and to develop from and to have that positivity? So it's actually a very, very powerful card. So in doing this, in being aware and having this very evident, very almost in your face message or symbol or moment of awakening, and it's sending you on this deep dive to your own subconscious, right, to your own inner world, your own inner landscape, and reading those signs, very subtle signs, I want to say, from this ancestral energy that is helping to guide you or point you in a certain direction. It does seem to be leading you to this destination. So it always seems to me that somebody's approaching this castle, which could represent some kind of authority in your life. So a workplace, an ancestral home, a place that you've built up in your mind, right? You've given this place power in your own mind. So it's almost like the blue butterflies are part of this following the trail, following the signs, energies, like leading you back to this place. But it will take you courage, right? It will take you courage to do this inward journey, but you have support, you have the universe, spirit, collective around you. It's like this is a destined journey for you, whatever this is. So here we go to really this kind of fascinating interplay between these two cards. So this is listening. Again, both the robin and the elephant both talk about ancestors for me. People say that if you see a robin, it's a sign that your ancestors or your loved ones who have passed on and are in spirit, they've come to say hello, right? And the elephant card does talk to me about you know, perhaps a parent or a grandparent, some kind of ancestor energy. Or an elder, right? It doesn't have to be literal family. It could just be an elder person that you really looked up to. And it has this listening energy. Now, I want to say there's something going on here about answering back. There's an interplay between these two cards. Now, this actually played out very, very personally for me today, and I'm not quite ready to kind of have that discussion publicly yet, but there's communication, I want to say, coming from your side, because can you see how it's like the feathers are coming down from this ancestral energy, like these spirit guides, the universe, whatever you want to call it, like they're sending you these very, very subtle signs and signals. You know, you have to look for them, you have to be aware of them, you have to interpret them. This is almost saying like you know, like when you look up into the sky and you see clouds and you think, oh, that cloud looks like an elephant. The crows are really talking to me as well today. There's two crows in the nesting in the roof opposite my house. I noticed them this morning and they're back again now as I look out at the sky to see the clouds. So there seems to be a message about those two crows too. And the crows also are symbolic of messages from the other side. So yeah, it's like interpretation. It's like, yes, you may be interpreting things as signs when it may just be coincidence, right? It's like maybe the cloud just looks like an elephant. Maybe those two crows have just happened to be nesting in that chimney, you know? But I want to say there's synchronicity with the universe, and the universe is very clever in the way that it allows for the interpretation. So it's like your lens, your interpretation, what it means to you is the most important thing in this. So somebody could look up and just say it's a cloud. Somebody could look at that and say it's a lion. You know, you may look at it and say it's an elephant, but to you, it is an elephant. And the universe is sending you that sign that it's an elephant. And yes, it is sending the sign to that other person that it's a lion, right? And if somebody's not open to receiving messages or they don't need it, to them it's just a cloud. So like, yes, you are interpreting things in your own way, but yes, it is also a sign from spirit, because spirit knows that you will interpret it that way. Does that make sense? It's both. So there's this double, like, back and forth energy happening. So, and this is where you'll start to see, I think, the evidence of it, because you have this back and forth. It's not one way. So the feathers, I want to say, are coming down from spirit. And I want to say this is almost you kind of blowing the feathers back up again. It's like seeing them coming in and sending them back. There's a back and forth. They're showing me ping pong, like table tennis. So it's like it comes back up. So normally I see the robin as the one singing and the elephant as the one listening, but in this case today, it's like it's almost like the music notes and the feathers are both these symbols and signs, and you're blowing them back up, right? So you're sending them back, you're echoing them back to where they came from, and then this is listening, right? They are receiving that signal back from you. So and this could be after some kind of betrayal or difficult ending, because the 10 of Swords is kind of the Caesar stabbed in the back card. But I want to say it wasn't, I mean, it could be some sort of forgiveness here happening, but it feels more like, because this is such a gentle 10 of Air, I'm really reading it as perhaps an ending that was painful, but at the same time, it being something that was very gentle and very delicate and very elegant and very subtle. So it's probably the least painful, or an ending that's, while still painful, it's still the 10 of Swords, right? It's still the 10 of Air. While painful, it's handled in a way that's very gentle and very delicate and very, almost like soothing the energy of the card, because somebody's very good at reading the subtle signs, the subtle nods and winks and gestures. Like there is a reply, and the more you interact with this energy, the more you'll start to develop your own signs and your own signals and your own gestures. You'll start to almost develop your own language with spirit or with this ancestor on the other side, and you'll start to know what those signs mean to you. Does that make sense? So it's like a lot of the stuff that I'm talking about here is coming through intuitively as I'm doing this reading. I didn't get all these messages yesterday. It's like I had to go and have that experience myself. You can actually hear the crows if you listen carefully now. They've brought some friends around. They're having a party. There's like 6 or 7 of them now. I think there's a pigeon in there too. So the pigeons and the crows seem to get on quite well around here. It's the seagulls that they have problems with, and the magpies. So yeah, it's like it doesn't matter what those signs and symbols mean to anyone else. So to me, the elephant is my mum, right? It's my ancestor, it's my mum, because she loved elephants. But to someone else, that elephant might mean that friend that you actually went to the zoo with and hand-fed an elephant, right? So it's like the elephant could mean a different thing to each person, but it's still spirit sending you the message. It's just spirit knows that people will interpret it the right way, something like that. So it's like the more carefully you pay attention to the delicate signs, the more you will be able to interpret them correctly and answer back accordingly. It doesn't always have to be a big epiphany. It doesn't always have to be like a full-blown presence in front of you. So for example, if you were going for, like, for example, ghost hunting, right? It's like you don't actually have to see a full body manifestation to know that there's something there, because it may be that a certain song plays every time you think about a certain person, you know, and or it's making me think about that show on Netflix where that Harry Styles song plays. It's like God's favorite idiot or something like that. It's like this Harry Styles song just haunts him, but it's like that, right? It's like you know that's a sign for you, because maybe that song meant something to you. Maybe you danced with that person, right, to that song. It's like, to you it is a sign, but you need to know, you need to develop your code with your spirit guides. Sorry, I went on about that a little bit too much because it was just coming in, right? I had to make sure I was receiving it clearly. And then it ends with this luminous warrior card, which really is talking about, it's like this is the start of the journey. This is the journey itself. And then this is having been on that journey and coming out on the other side, because it's actually, you've got, what's very, very, very interesting to me is I went through this deck and I separated all the cards. So I do have a system when I get a new deck of like making several piles and kind of going round so that none of the cards are consecutive, and then I reshuffle them in. So I have had this deck for a good week now. I've done several readings. I always mix up the cards every time I put them in, and yet you have 29, 30, 31, 32, and I swear this deck, so 52, 8, 2, right, 49, 46, you can see that this deck was well shuffled, and yet, again, I'm only noticing this myself now, and yet you have consecutive cards. So there's progress happening, and it may be very subtle progress, but there is progress. How interesting. So yeah, feels like going on this quest, this inner quest, to find the dark shadows of your own psyche, right? To do that shadow work. Again, Google shadow work, Carl Jung shadow work, if you don't know what that is. And then coming out of that and finding that golden shadow, because he's really, there's a lot of blue and gold in these cards. So, and it really feels like coming back out again. Something about the way he's kind of almost wrapping himself in this blue energy here. It's like he's pulling that blue energy, so subconscious energy or other world energy, right? Beyond the veil energy around him like a blanket, in order to go in and maybe go through that space unnoticed, right? Maybe going in as one of the shadows. So it could be talking about being full of guilt or rage or unresolved issues, those kind of demons, like having those and carrying those, and like being part of that place, but then coming out of it, using it, because you see it's like the blue is like breaking away from him now. He's more golden now. So the luminous warrior actually talks about incorporating the shadow, right? But not only that, it's being a very positive force. I'm going to read it to you actually, because the book's going to explain this better than I could. So 32 is like having done the work. So the essence, the luminous warrior has no enemies in this world or the next. He is impeccable in word and deed. But he hasn't always been, right? He achieves this. He focuses on his light rather than on what He focuses on his light rather than on what hides in the dark. Since he casts no shadow, he is as radiant as the sun and can transform his most terrible enemy into his ally. His power comes not from the sword, but from speaking his truth at all costs. So it's a light speaker, right? It's a truth speaker, very much like the sun energy in the tarot, where the sun illuminates, right? Nothing can hide. Like the sun defeats the devil because the devil can't hide in that sun's light. So the invitation, the luminous warrior reminds you that it's important to focus on your power, wisdom, and beauty. Do not be seduced by what seems wrong with you or with the world. Remember that intention follows attention. So focus on your positive traits. Feed your light with more light until you feel truly empowered. So it's not denying that there's darkness there, right? It's not saying that this person is pure light. It's saying that the focus is on the light, not the darkness. Now, this may be talking about focusing on your good deeds rather than your bad deeds, or focusing on your more positive personality aspects or the more positive features of your body. And really embracing those positive traits and positive aspects, and not concerning yourself overly with the more negative aspects. And it's like, don't deny that they're there, acknowledge them, but really focus on your strengths. Then there will be little need for action as you resolve all situations from within, right? From within. all situations from within. So again, I was talking about projecting. So are you angry because that person has reflected something back at you that you don't like to see about yourself? Are you projecting something that you are uncomfortable about yourself onto that other person, which is a defense mechanism, right? A lot of anger is just a defense mechanism because something has been touched within us that we don't want to see. So not every time, okay, sometimes that anger is definitely because of something external, but this is saying that the answers come from within. So if you feel angry, digest that, understand that. Where is it coming from? Is there something that you can do? Is there action that you can take to resolve that? Are you being tempted by your emotions to follow your lower instincts? Are you being invited to enter into a quarrel with somebody? Put your sword away. It is not time for battle. Your enemy is not who you think it is. Do not act from a place of anger that will damage your relationships and hurt the ones that you care for. Find the truth hiding in your heart that will affirm your instincts for peace rather than war. So yeah, back within, back into that heart space. Cool reading, Aquarius. Really, really liked it. And I liked how, even though the cards were quite clear to me with the main message that wanted to come through about Spirit has a plan, there's going to be a sign, it's going to make you do this inner journey. You know, make sure you pay attention to the signals from Spirit. You may have to stand up to something, and again, it could be something within you, like internally standing up to something. And if this is like, say there's an ancestor who you had a really difficult relationship, but they've passed on, you can still, through visualization and dream work, right, active dream work, go and have those conversations and those confrontations with that person and make that situation go the way that you would like to resolve it, right? And do it within. And that can be a very healing, powerful experience. Maybe you want to get some help from some kind of practitioner to do that, if you wanted to do that through like guided meditation or something, which is of course for you to look into and figure out if that's for you or not. But yeah, that was kind of the main message of the reading. And then coming out as this figure who has done that work, that internal work, with the support of Spirit. So the fact that a lot of my own experience today should feed into that reading, especially with this paying attention to the subtle signs, really listening, right? Really listening and figuring out how to communicate back. And also something else as well. There's something else in there. Yeah. I don't know, but take it as it resonates. Leave it if it doesn't. Watch out for, really feel like dragons especially are coming through strongly there. Yeah, and keep doing the work, because I think doing the work is working for you, right? And the universe sees that. All right, I hope that was helpful. Please take care of yourselves, and I will see you again soon. Bye, Aquarius.